Welcome back to Road to Fire. We're a family of four documenting our journey to FIRE, financial independence, retire early. Let's chat about our March 2024 budget. I will share details on our household income, outline our expected expenses for the month, and a brief look into our 2024 financial goals with all real numbers like always, so please hang with me. In October 2021, our income was $12,822. Today, it is just over $24,000. We nearly doubled our income in 2.5 years. Granted, March is a 3-pay period month for me, so our income is a little inflated. We average around $21,000 after taxes. We also combined our rental income with our home income because our portfolio is just one property at the moment, so it keeps things really simple for me. Now, when or if we do buy another property, I might pull it out to make things cleaner. On top of maxing out our 401ks, we both contribute to an HSA each month. I'm curious if anyone front loads their 401k contributions to max it out in Q1 versus throughout the year. Let me know down in the comments. In general, I feel we are at a healthy income, which makes budgeting much easier and less restrictive. In the last 2 years, we had 2 options to free up more cash. We could either cut our expenses or increase our income. Now, we felt we cut the most we could while living the life we want to live, so building and creating new streams of income was our focus, and it finally paid off. My husband and I might be old school, but we combined all our finances. Every account we have is joint, including our credit cards. We put almost all of our expenses on one Capital One credit card, which makes it easy to track. There are a few annoying expenses like natural gas or electricity that only accepts automatic payments from our checking or savings account, but 95% of our expenses roll off on one joint credit card. That might sound scary as the bill can run up real quick, but we pay it off every month and enjoy about $200 to $250 a month in cashback rewards. So we still budget the same way. We budget using the zero-based budget method, which is the best way to budget for us. Essentially, all income has a line item in our budget. Your income is either tied to an expense or savings, and savings will include cash and investments. This type of budgeting makes sense as all of your income is accounted for. For example, say you make $5,000 a month and your expense rolls up to be $4,000, thus making your savings $1,000 respectively. You essentially have assigned every dollar in your budget a task. A budget tells your money where to go and when. But we did make 2 slight changes to how we track our expenses. Because our monthly income slightly fluctuates from month to month, we had to make some adjustments in how we budget. First, we assign paychecks to major bills. For example, most of our checks for the month come in the first 10 days, while most of our larger bills come in the latter half of the month. To make sure we're covered for these expenses, I simply allocate a check for a given bill. For example, check 1 is for mortgage number 1, and so forth. This is only used for bills that cannot be paid on a credit card. For example, mortgage payments, utility bills, or sometimes student tuitions. The second thing we changed is tracking our savings and investing separately. We used to lump them together because both are a form of savings, but I wanted to see how much money we were putting into the stock market every year. So starting last year, we began splitting this out to better project our future FIRE number and our timeline against our goals. These are slight adjustments, but have made managing our expenses much easier. But please budget the way that works for you and your lifestyle. We made adjustments because it made the most sense for us, but do what works for you. I update our budget twice a month, or is it 3 times? We set it at the beginning of the month or right before the beginning of the month. Then I review how we are tracking in the middle of the month and then a final closeout. Share in the comments below what type of budgeting format, tool, application, or style you use. So here's our March income report. Our W-2 is 65% of our income, and 2 years ago it was close to 85%. Our ultimate goal is to get this down to 50% as we continue to build more streams of income. Now, I don't want to be screwed or financially handicapped if something happens to either of our W-2s, so always have other options. So here are the details. Our W-2 income is $15,765, and this represents after 401k and HSA contributions. This higher income will help us catch up on our saving rate goals. We have no planned bonuses this month because both of our companies pay them out in January and February. Our passive income for this month includes our rental income, which is expected to be around $2,825. I always put in a conservative numbers as expenses rise and change month over month. For side hustle income, it's at 0 this month as I don't think I'll have time to do surveys. I have 2 work trips and a family spring break trip planned, so all weekends will definitely be booked. And for other, this is our consulting, contract, additional income. We expect that to be around $5,565 for the month. So our total expected income for March will be $24,155 for all of our current income streams. A lot can change in 2.5 years. I read the book Atomic Habits a few years back and it changed my life. One thing that stuck with me was making a 1% change each day. Now, if you made a 1% change each day, by the end of the year, you would be 37 times better. Now, I feel like all of the small changes and shifts we made over the last 2.5 years, in fact, over the last 4 years, are finally paying off. From getting rid of all of our consumer debt, to house hacking in a duplex most people would have passed on, to moving back home during COVID, to finding new jobs with promotions, then starting new business ventures to increase our income. All of these changes got us to where we are today. Now, I've always been very flat or cynical about our progress to FIRE, but I finally feel like our goals are tangible. Okay, I'm getting off my soapbox now. So here's our March expense report or monthly budget. Our top 5 categories this month are savings, childcare, investing, and our mortgages. These 5 expenses represent 70% of our total expenses. One thing I am working on now is trying to decrease our mortgage bills. I am reevaluating our home insurance plans on both homes for the first time. So our savings rate, including both cash and investing, is about 33%, which is above our target of 30% for the year. Overall, our total expenses are just over $24,000, which matches our income. So let's get into the details. Cash savings is on top this month at $4,500. I'm not pessimistic about the market, but if you ask me how things are feeling, it's a little bit bubbly right now, so I'm holding on to more cash than normal. Childcare includes daycare, private school tuition, summer camps, activity, and sports for both our children, and that's at a whopping $4,193. Now, I know somebody's going to ask about why we chose to put our son in private school. There are many reasons, but our faith is core to who we are, and we wanted our son to go to a Christian school. Not to get political, but the state of education right now is, I'll just leave that alone. So our third largest expense this month is investing at $3,899. This includes investing for our children, with the majority of this going into our after-tax brokerage account or our bridge account for FIRE. Next are our mortgages at $2,333 for our rental and about $2,300 for our primary home. We always believe in tithing 10% of our income to churches and charity. To simplify things this year, I give a fixed $1,000 every other month to our church. Sometimes it's over 10%, sometimes it's under, but mid and towards the end of the year, I review it to fill in the gaps. This is an automatic payment on our joint credit card, which makes things really easy. In addition, I have about $75 allocated to gifts and birthdays this month. So travel is at $1,650. It's usually not this high, but if you're a parent, then you know it's spring break time just around the corner. We are heading out of town for spring break, so this is the expected cost for activities, the Airbnb, and car rental. Now, groceries. I can never get this line item right. We are averaging around $600, so I put that in for this month, but my son is eating like a teenager right now, and my husband is on a protein diet, so we'll see how we adjust in April. So household is budgeted at $505, and that includes our cleaner, toiletries, diapers, household repair items, and so forth. Utilities are at $465 for our primary home, and that includes gas, internet, electricity, and our phones. And entertainment is slotted at $270, and that is booked for date night or fun items that we do as a family. Apparel is clothing needs we may have. I usually shop before a trip, so this is why it's a bit higher in March, but that's allocated to about $250. So health and beauty, which I didn't have before when I was budgeting, but this section includes our gym membership, facials, salon visits. I have locks now, so I have to get my hair retwisted, and that's budgeted at just over $200. Gas is for our Audi, and our Tesla bill is rolled into our utility section, and that's at $175 per month. And a new item that I have that I didn't have before when budgeting is a miscellaneous section. It's kind of a catch-all for co-pays, small business expenses like TubeBuddy, or any other minor Amazon purchases that don't fit in the other categories. So this section changes from month to month, and this month it's budgeted around $281. So total expenses for March is $24,155, which matches our income. I always inflate or round up for most of the items in our expenses just to have a small buffer for us. So, we have three key financial goals this year, and I kept it really simple. Our first goal is to invest $50,000 into the stock market or within a business. Last year, we invested around $25,000 into the stock market while saving over $60,000 in cash. Our goal last year was to fatten up our emergency fund to have a run rate in case things went sideways. I'd like to shift our focus more into the market and hope this propels us into our FIRE journey. Now, our second goal is to have our takeout spend average less than $250 per month. Now, you're probably wondering why this would be a goal. Last year, we spent about $6,500 on takeout. Can you imagine? That is over $500 a month. When I was a kid, takeout was a luxury, only on big holidays like Mother's Day or graduation. Now, I do love a good restaurant meal, but this year we're focusing more on cooking healthier meals at home. This small shift would save us over $3,000 a year. So our final and most important goal is getting our annual average saving rate to over 30%. Last year, our saving rate was closer to 27%. We had big trips that hit our account. We went to Mexico as a family of 4 and Kenya to visit our family who we haven't seen since pre-COVID times. Absolutely don't regret it, but it did impact our savings. You might think that shifting our saving rates by just 3 or 2 or 4% isn't a lot, but it equates to thousands of dollars that could be put to better use. Share your top financial goals in the comments. Anyone getting really aggressive in 2024? I overall wanted to focus on goals we could control. I usually had a net worth goal or an investment portfolio goal, but I have absolutely no control on what the market will do. Yes, we are riding in an amazing bull market right now, but who knows what the end of 2024 will look like. So I focused on tangible stretch goals that we could control. How much we save and how we save is something that we can definitely focus on. We take goal setting seriously in our household. We spend the last 2 weeks of December planning, envisioning, and mapping out the next year. We have 5 key areas we create goals on, and because this isn't a lifestyle channel, I only focus on our financial goals here. But each year, we have a word that we meditate on or dwell on. Last year, our word was the focus around elevation, a focus on going to the next level in all aspects of our life, going the extra distance. This year, we're focusing on humility with an emphasis on love. How can we make sure that we're staying humble even when we're being elevated? It's the baseline of what we teach our children to be humble, grateful, and start with love. Now, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. But don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time.